Go into the world and tell every man that you meet, there is a man on the cross.
A Catholic Take. What you need to know right now. A bold synthesis of inspiration and information. Keeping you up to date on the news and issues from a courageous Catholic perspective.
A Catholic Take with Joe McLean starts now.
Praise be to Jesus Christ. Welcome back to A Catholic Take, a bold synthesis of information and inspiration. I'm your host, Joe McLean. Praise be to God. It is Friday. You have survived the week. Congratulations. But it's going to be a great day. We're going to have some interesting conversation today. From Catholic influencers at the Vatican to government bribes, hoping that you will support Hillary Clinton, to space alien invasions, and so much more. It's Friday. We're catching up with Dr. Anthony Stine from Return to Tradition. We're also going to have Michael Hichborn back on the team from the Lepanto Institute to talk about that Tulsi Gabbard press release, because part of that dump of information regarding Russiagate was about the Obama administration bribing Catholic orgs to support Hillary Clinton's campaign. We're going to get into that part of that report. We talked more about the tranquilizers and all that. We talked about that last week, but we're going to get into that with Michael Hichborn today on the show. Also, there's a report out about Cardinal Pell and the APSA that if we have time, I want to get into that as well. So we're going to put links to everything in the show notes for you over at thestationofthecross.com/ACT. We do have a lot to get to, praise be to God. But can I just say thank you to our sponsor, realestateforlife.org. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, could be a great way to support our cause by going through realestateforlife.org. Let them know that the Station of the Cross sent you, and we get a small portion of that commission on your sale or your purchase. realestateforlife.org. Let's get into it. Share us with a friend, but let's pray. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thine intercession was left unaided. Inspired by this confidence, I fly unto thee, O Virgin of Virgins, my mother. To thee do I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother of the Word incarnate, despise not my petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer me. Amen. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And now your saint of the day.
The Holy Maccabees. Pray for us. About 170 years before the birth of the Savior, Judea was subjugated by the pagan Seleucid Empire under King Antiochus, who violently attempted to suppress the religion of the Israelites. Among those arrested for resisting were 7 brothers and their mother, remembered as the Holy Maccabees. The pagans attempted to force the family to eat pork, whipping and scourging them, but the faithful Jews refused. When the eldest spoke out in defiance, he was horribly tortured and finally roasted to death. Each of the brothers in turn suffered similar fates, zealously defying the king, while mother and sons all encouraged each other to remain steadfast. The king urged the mother to tell her youngest son to save his own life, but she simply told him not to leave her and his brothers without his company after death, and the enraged king ordered that the defiant boy suffer even crueler torments than the others. Finally, the fearless mother met her end. The relics of these martyrs rest in the Roman Church of St. Peter in Chains, a feast also celebrated today that commemorates Peter's escape from captivity under Herod. After the martyrdom of the Maccabees, the Jews would eventually overthrow their persecutors and cleanse the temple, regaining their independence for a few more decades before the Romans took over the region. For more about this day and others in the Church's calendar, visit thestationofthecross.com/saints and seasons. Holy Maccabees, pray for us.
And now your headline news. Breitbart reports South Korea agrees to trade deal. President Donald Trump announced a full and complete trade deal with South Korea yesterday, an agreement committing $350 billion in investment into the United States and significantly eroding Korean automaker advantages in the U.S. market, a deal that did not require South Korea to increase its imports of American beef or rice, a point of significant contention during the negotiations. South Korea agreed to a 15% tariff on its goods entering into America compared to the 25% it would have faced if it didn't reach the deal. Fox News reports F-35 fighter jet went down near California base. A Navy pilot is safe after an F-35C jet went down near Naval Air Station Lemoore in South California, causing a fiery crash. The jet crashed in a field and burst into flames. Quote, "We can confirm the pilot successfully ejected and is safe, and there are no additional affected personnel." The F-35 involved in the crash was attached to Strike Fighter Squadron 125 Rough Raiders, a specialized training unit. And Catholic Vote reports U.S. bishops urge Trump to intervene for Gaza. Bishop Elias Zayden, chairman of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops Committee on International Justice and Peace, praised Trump for acknowledging the starvation of Gazans. Quote, "I urge him to demand the immediate expansion of humanitarian assistance through all channels in Gaza," Bishop Zayden said. And those are your headline news. The gospel today comes to us from Matthew chapter 13, verses 54 through 58. "And coming into his own country, Jesus taught them in their synagogues, so that they wondered and said, 'How came this man by this wisdom and miracles? Is not this the carpenter's son? Is not his mother called Mary, and his brethren James and Joseph and Simon and Jude? And his sisters, are they not all with us? Whence therefore hath he all these things?' And they were scandalized in his regard. But Jesus said to them, 'A prophet is not without honor save in his own country and in his own house.' And he wrought not many miracles there because of their unbelief." The gospel of the Lord. Laus TV Christi. Going with the saints today, from the St. Thomas Aquinas Golden Thread, St. Jerome would say, "Wonderful folly of the Nazarenes. They wonder whence wisdom itself has wisdom, whence power has mighty works. But the source of their error is at hand, because they regard him as the son of a carpenter, as they say. Is not this the carpenter's son?" I mean, think about the insult there. The dig, the passive aggressiveness in that statement is on another level. This is God who took upon flesh standing before you, your creator, who holds you in his mind, and you want to throw a dig like that. Is this not the carpenter's son? As though the carpenter is some lowly little thing? St. Chrysostom would say, "Therefore were they in all things insensate, seeing they lightly esteemed him on account of him who was regarded as his father, notwithstanding the many instances in old times of sons illustrious sprung from ignoble fathers, as David was of the son of a husbandman, Jesse, Amos the son of a shepherd, himself a shepherd. And they ought to have given him more abundant honor, because that coming of such parents, he spake after such manner, clearly showing that it came not of human industry, but of divine grace." Yeah, David didn't come from kings. David came from Jesse, and yet he's considered a great king. St. Hilary would say, "And this was the carpenter's son who subdues iron by means of fire, who tries the virtue of this world in the judgment, and forms the rude mass to every work of human need, the figure of our bodies, for example, to the divers ministrations of the limbs, and all actions of life eternal." This is God we're talking about here. That's what Hilary's saying. St. Jerome says, "Those who are here called the Lord's brethren are the sons of a Mary, his mother's sister. She is the mother of this James and Joseph, that is to say, Mary, the wife of Cleopas. And this is the Mary who is called the mother of James the Less." So this is not speaking of, these brothers aren't actual brothers, are like cousins. "This error of the Jews," he goes on to say, "is our salvation." Ooh, that's good. "This error of the Jews is our salvation, and the condemnation of the heretics, for they perceived Jesus Christ to be man so far as to think him the son of a carpenter. Do you see? The battle over the nature of Jesus started from the very beginning. He is both God and he is man, that hypostatic union. It is the folly of so many who can't wrap their heads around it. St. Chrysostom goes on to say, observe Christ's mercifulness. He is evil spoken of, yet he answers with mildness. Jesus said unto them, a prophet is not without honor, but in his own country and in his own house. He goes on, but if his miracles raised their wonder, why did he not work many? Because he looked not to display of himself, but to what would profit others. And when that did not result, he despised what pertained only to himself, that he might not increase their punishment. Why then did he even these few miracles? That they should not say, we should have believed and had many miracles been done to us. You see what St. Chrysostom is saying is he took away their excuses. You have no excuses. You had the prophets who came and told you what would happen and when it would happen. And here I am doing these things that the prophets all spoke of when they said it was going to happen. I do it right in front of you, and still you say, is not this the carpenter's son? You have no excuses. You want to know what else? But you don't have any more miracles, because I wipe the dust off my feet and I keep trucking. Or as St. Jerome would say, or we may understand it otherwise, that Jesus is despised in his own house, signifies in the Jewish people. And that is why he went to the Gentiles with his apostles. Let that sink in. We'll be back in 2 minutes. There are lots of stories in the news that are of great concern to us, and Catholic influencers, space, alien invasions, and so much more being talked about over at returntotradition.org. Dr. Anthony Stine, it's Fridays with Stine. Good morning to you, Dr. Stine. Thank you for being on the team with us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me on. And it's been a weird week in the news.
At least it's not boring. At least it's not boring. I do want to talk about the influencer thing. I was listening to you this morning on your program, and you said something that kind of caught my attention. And let's go to the Catholic influencer thing. I've been talking about it. In fact, I had Christian Wagner on the team. We kind of talked about it with him a little bit earlier this week. But you seem to suggest that there's a good chance that the Catholic influencer thing could be coming out as a part of the first encyclical under Leo XIV. Do you think that's true?
I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, the Pope has spoken a great deal about AI and the rest of it, and it would be a natural inclusion there to go from AI to the merits and dangers of the internet and all sorts of things. And then from there, you could put in the warning to or about influencers in there. It would be to me, it'd be a bit strange, because often encyclicals will address a contemporary issue, but you don't want to address an issue that could be dated 100 years from now when someone reads the encyclical, to have it be extraordinarily dated. So we'll see. It wouldn't surprise me terribly, because the Vatican has, I had it on good authority from people who do have their own connections in Rome, who say that, yes, the Vatican does pay attention to social media influencers. And I think this Jubilee event is proof of that. They knew well enough who to invite to this thing, after all. But there are people in Rome who pay attention to these things. And so they've been critical of it to a degree. Do you remember when Bishop Barron suggested that there be a badge system given to approved outlets? That got the backlash that you would have expected, especially in a time when he said that. I believe it was right around the time the McCarrick topic with Vigano was coming back. It was 2019, 2020. I don't think it may have been Pachamama was involved, so it was a hot button time to be in Catholic discourse. And so to have him come out and say, maybe we should only have approved voices. The timing was a little bad, we'll say. There are times where he could make that suggestion. It wouldn't look so bad, but that timing was really, really bad. But this has been something they've been thinking about for a long time.
I think, though, in a perfect world, I think you and I would both agree that we would want to see the Vatican, just like we liked when the church regulated movies or books in order to guard against bad ideas, bad philosophy, bad theology, to help protect the lay faithful. We wouldn't have an issue with that. But the problem is we don't live in a perfect world. And I think we're asking ourselves the question, well, who gets to decide who gets that badge? Who gets to be the gatekeeper in that? It's certainly not going to be the Pope. He's got other things to do today. He's not going to be, going through these things. It's going to be delegated to somebody. And can we trust that somebody? That's going to be the problem we're going to have.
Right. And in a perfect world, well, not a perfect world, but in a state where the church wasn't in a period where you could argue that it's in crisis, people like you and I would spend most of the time that we talk about political things would be talking about external things to the church. A Catholic take on whatever the president is doing, or a Catholic take on, whatever weird nonsense Hollywood is peddling this week. In a state where the church is in an unequivocally good state, that's what we would be doing. We wouldn't be worried about, oh no, what's this next encyclical going to say? We wouldn't have any worries about that. We would be worried about what the outside to the church was doing and how Catholics should think about it. But that's not where we are. And so who decides is always a good question, especially because the church has never endorsed political speech, or has never endorsed free speech as a general rule. If we lived in a Catholic integralist society, blasphemy laws would absolutely be on the books. They would be. Pornography would not be accessible, not readily. It'd be on a black market somewhere, but you would not have it easily accessible. And I can make a case rooted in Catholic social teaching on a right to free political speech. You notice the qualifier there. Political, meaning having to do with policy and who's running for office and those kinds of things. But it wouldn't be like the free for all we have now, for better or worse. And, it's why this discussion about, who the badges for Catholic media, it's weird to have, because on the one hand, we'd like to live in that world where the church has the ability to work hand in hand with the state, and it's not a bad thing, where the state is staying in its lane and working with the church to ensure that the social environment is good for the salvation of souls and that the church has the freedom to do its work. But censorship comes with that. And yet here we are kind of bristling at the notion of even implied censorship about Catholic media. So it's an odd topic, to say the least. Made all the weirder when that way they did that. They also were doing some Jubilee youth thing going on there, and they trotted out Luce. Luce thing was all over Rome again.
Yeah. I was just in Rome a couple of months ago, and we saw the Luce thing all over the place, and little dolls in stores and such. And it was just, it's cringy at best. It really is just cringy at best. And I think most people feel that way, to be honest.
No one ever likes it also when you bring up that the person who made it also has was in the business of making, we'll call them toys for adult activities. Just that's bad. So
that illustrates the point, doesn't it? It's like, someone got delegated that task. Hey, you know what we need? You know what's cool with the kids these days is we need a little anime character. Bob, you in the corner over there, Father Bob, go find us an anime character. Okay. And he goes and just Googles an artist, and then now we have Luce. It's like they didn't do enough due diligence to figure out that the artist was involved in very scandalous activities professionally we don't want to be associated with. But that's my fear, is that same sort of process will happen for, hey, we need to have badged approved Catholic media outlets on YouTube, and it's going to be Father Bob's job to figure it out, but Father Bob doesn't really know the intricacies or the nuances of anything, and what is it all going to really mean at the end of the day. I think the people that they like are going to get badges, and people they don't like aren't going to get badges, and I don't think it's going to matter all that much in the long run. Because I think people who are looking for certain kinds of information aren't going to pay attention to that badge. Do you think that's fair?
Well, let me put it to you this way. Well, first, most people, the badge system would actually, for a lot of Catholics who don't trust what's going on, if they were to go with it, would end up being the mark of somebody you can't trust. That's what it would end up being. A lot of people say, oh, you're approved. No, that's what would happen. And a lot of good people would get caught up in that too. You would have good priests with the badge who all of a sudden a lot of Catholics who might need to hear what they have to say about other things wouldn't trust them, and that's a problem. But do you think, for instance, if I had to ask you, this is a rhetorical question, we know the answer, the National Catholic Reporter or Taylor Marshall, who gets the badge? We know the answer to that question.
We definitely know the answer to this. Yes, 100%. It's
right.
definitely Taylor Marshall. Oh, wait, hold on.
He's the boogeyman now. Like, they blame him for all sorts of wild things. So, again, and this is why this whole thing, it'll be interesting when that encyclical comes out. I hope it's about AI, and it's just mostly about AI, with all the good warnings that Catholics need to be reminded of, that, when you go online, maybe you should don't worry about the ad blocker as much as having, a filter. Don't internet pornography bad. That kind of stuff would be wonderful. We'll see what happens.
I agree. I would much rather an encyclical on AI or even on Catholic media influence. I would be okay with that over something like immigration again, or the poor, or the environment. I mean, I would love to see something new. And if he did it on AI, I think it'd be great. I think it'd be a good thing to have.
Yes, and especially since AI is, at least at its current phase, is just a tool, but it's already being grossly misused. There are a whole host of new channels all come up with since within 36 hours of Pope Leo being elected Pope. There are a whole host of channels now called Pope Leo Wisdom, Pope Leo Sermons, Pope Leo this. And they all take and just make up homilies and then clone his voice and have him say it. But it's not, you never get video of him saying it. So it's kind of the giveaway. And it's not like a normal person just reading it. And even if it's not his voice or saying, here we are reading his homily, the delivery is almost perfect. It's almost perfect, except it sounds, when you listen to it, otherworldly because it's fake. There's something unsettling about it because it's fake. And these channels have thousands of subscribers. And we all know, I don't know if you are good at spotting AI images in AI video, but a lot of people aren't. My inbox is like, Anthony, you need to comment on this. And it's like, clearly AI nonsense that somebody posted. I got one recently about Pope giving 17 new rules for Catholics or something. And I'm like, did you check the Vatican News website for this?
Right.
The easiest way to check.
That's the problem, is you have to you have to double check all these things. I will say, though, one of the greatest AI video, fake news jobs of Pope Leo so far has been the video of him praising Michael Jordan as the greatest basketball player ever. That was kind of a fun video to watch. I don't know if you've seen that.
Was somebody made a video like that?
Yeah. They made a video, totally fake. But it's great. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was good.
You know why somebody did that? Why people might be fooled by that? Because he's from Chicago, right? He's Bob from Chicago, and please, people, stop calling him that. Like, seriously, stop. That's respect the office enough to stop calling him Bob. Please. Right. But he's from Chicago, ergo he must be a Bulls fan.
Yeah.
I guess.
Similarly related to this topic, yesterday I saw a post from Father Dave Nix hanging out with Mel Gibson. And he said Mel Gibson asked Father to tell the world that he has 0 social media accounts. So if you see anything from a supposed Mel Gibson account anywhere online, it's not him, it's fake. And boy, that really is a big problem today. It seriously is a problem. You can fake all kinds of people, voices, images, video, and everything else, which can be very dangerous, which is why I think it would be great to see an encyclical on this topic by Pope Leo. I fear that we're going to get something on immigration or the poor or something. Not that those aren't important topics, but we've had all of that. What we need is more clarity and guidance on these topics.
Yes, and that is actually the point of Catholic social teaching, is to, when these encyclicals are issued, to address an issue of the time, but give long-ranging principles that are rooted in the timeless teachings of the church. You're just presenting a gospel solution and a timeless teaching to whatever the issue of the day is. And so, like AI, the easiest AI answer is, well, you're not supposed to bear false witness on people. So cloning the Pope's voice and putting words in his mouth, bearing false witness, you should stop doing that, as an example. Yeah,
and if he gives us some great advice on how to take pictures of our dinner and put it on the gram and get the priest with the pecs out to do some flexing, I mean, all that would be good too. From the Catholic influencer.
Make sure they're flat, please.
conference. Hey, maybe we'll see you back at the top of the hour for the after show. Dr. Anthony Stine, returntotradition.org is the website. Praise be to Jesus Christ. Welcome back to A Catholic Take, a bold synthesis of information and inspiration. I'm your host, Joe McClain, and here are your headlines. The Hill reports Trump to bring back presidential fitness test in schools. President Trump hosted several professional athletes at the White House yesterday for an executive order signing. The order will direct the President's Council on Sports, Fitness, and Nutrition to develop school-based programs that reward achievements in physical education. We'll also reestablish the Presidential Fitness Test, which was first created back in 1966 and was administered in public middle schools and high schools. The test was replaced in 2013 with the Presidential Youth Fitness Program, which emphasized living an active and healthy lifestyle. And Just the News reports White House to begin ballroom construction. The Trump administration yesterday announced that the White House would soon begin construction on a ballroom on the property to accommodate more guests and state functions. The White House is currently unable to host major functions honoring world leaders in other countries without having to install a large, unsightly tent. The ballroom will replace the east wing of the White House property, which was originally built in 1902. The project will mark the most substantial overhaul of the White House in recent years. And the LifeSite News is reporting Christian convert in Egypt arrested after requesting updated religious status on the ID. Saeed Mansour Abdul Razik, an Egyptian who converted from Islam to Christianity, was arrested and charged with terrorism, inciting unrest, and spreading fake news after requesting a new ID to reflect his Christian faith. Despite Egypt's constitution guaranteeing religious freedom, the country's anti-blasphemy laws and refusal to recognize conversions have led to his detention, highlighting the ongoing persecution of Christians there. Let's pray for them. Those are your headline news. Praise be to God in all things. Joining us now from the Lepanto Institute is Michael Hichborn. Michael, good morning to you. Thank you for your time. We really appreciate having you on.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on.
The story out of Tulsi Gabbard and the Russiagate continues to entertain a lot of people online. That's for sure. We're having a lot of fun watching the going back and forth over Russiagate. And it seems that Hillary Clinton, as much as I guess she tried to slip away from the spotlight in recent years, she's being dragged back in kicking and screaming because Tulsi revealed something very, very shocking in her latest dump. Take us through it.
So last week, Tulsi Gabbard held a press conference where she was talking about a lot of the Russiagate nonsense that had come out. And what she revealed was a rather lengthy bit of evidence to show that the Obama administration had actively worked with the U.S. intelligence community to not only foster but to propagate the Russiagate hoax, to make it seem as if Donald Trump had actually collaborated with Vladimir Putin to try and sway voters and to fix the election, so to speak. Well, all of this is completely unraveling, and Tulsi Gabbard, as she is going through intelligence communiques and all sorts of various documented evidence that have been held in the archives of various intelligence community warehouses, she was revealing a whole list of this evidence that they had uncovered, and among it was something that I think most people didn't really catch, or at least it didn't really get a whole lot of news. She was talking about the fact that Vladimir Putin actually withheld some intelligence that he had on Hillary Clinton. And she was, Tulsi Gabbard was basically saying, look, if Putin was collaborating with Trump to fix the election, he would have released this information on Hillary Clinton. And one of the things that she said was that he chose not to leak the most damaging and compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election. She said this, instead, planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed would be an inevitable Clinton presidency. If Russia wanted to help Donald Trump get elected, they would have released this material prior to the election to harm the Clinton campaign. Okay, so that's the stage. that was set. Here's the key piece of information that got my attention. From the press release. The material about Hillary Clinton that Putin chose not to release before the election included possible criminal acts, including, and this is a direct quote, details of secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations, okay, multiple named U.S. religious organizations, in which State Department representatives offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton, quote, significant increases in financing from department funds and the patronage of state in dealing with post-Soviet countries. So I was curious, and I went to usaspending.gov because that's where we get a lot of information about government grants going to such agencies. And what I found, and I think that you have the charts that I sent you. If you don't, I'll just describe them. I found significant increases in funding to both Catholic Relief Services and the USCCB in 2016. Now, 2016 was the last year of the Obama administration. So if there was an increase of funding going to the Obama administration as a promise for supporting Hillary Clinton, then this massive jump in funding makes a whole lot of sense. It didn't make sense to me at the time. I've seen this information before, and I would say, okay, well, that's kind of odd that Obama decided that he was going to spend his last year just throwing gobs of cash at Catholic Relief Services in the USCCB. I figured maybe something had happened, or maybe there was something that they wanted to support. But now, with Tulsi Gabbard's information saying that this was done in exchange for support for Secretary Clinton, it seems to me that maybe that this is now no longer an anomaly, but evidence.
It never ceases to surprise me anymore. Remember when she had her email gate back in the day when they had their server found, and and there was a bunch of her emails had been leaked through WikiLeaks or whatever it was. Remember there was a tie to the Catholic Church even back then. Was it Podesta's email, or I can't remember, but it was
Podesta.
These ties back to Catholic organizations, to Catholic bishops, to try to win their influence. It is shocking to me. I guess it's not shocking anymore, but it was shocking back then. And now it's just like, of course this is all going on. This is the stuff of Hollywood. And yet it's real.
Sure. Right. Well, the phrase that was used back then was a Catholic Spring, which is a reference to the Arab Spring, or kind of an Arab uprising. So now we can take a look at the Catholic Spring, and we can say, well, it's rather fascinating that there was a significant increase in funding to both the USCCB and CRS in 2016. I can also tell you that one of the things that came out in those emails that you referenced, the Podesta emails, some of those emails went to a gentleman named John Carr. John Carr was a longtime employee at the USCCB. I met with him several times when we were investigating the Catholic Campaign for Human Development, and he came up with every excuse under the sun as to why they were continuing to finance pro-abortion, pro-LGBT Marxist organizations. But so John Carr was the director for Justice, Peace, and Human Development at the USCCB. And for him to be named in these Podesta emails, I didn't see anything necessarily untoward, but the fact that he was in communication with John Podesta was very interesting to me. And again, it just seems to secure the fact that there was some sort of collaboration going on between the Obama administration and the USCCB. Whether the bishops were involved or whatever, bureaucracy covers a lot of what actually transpires. So it's impossible to pin it on anybody in particular. But I do think that this is evidence. This is evidence. And I think that the U.S. or the Trump administration needs to dive a little bit more deeply into the relationship between Catholic Relief Services and the USCCB and the Obama administration and see exactly what was going on.
You know, in that same, I'm going to be linking to this, by the way, today, the press release. I'm going to link to the articles, everything in the show notes today for you at the stationofthecross.com/ACT. But in that press release, right in that same category that you read a minute ago about sort of bribing these Catholic orgs, there's also there's also the mention of the heavy tranquilizers. I talked about this last week, actually. I mean, it's not shocking, but at the same time, it's kind of shocking. But this explains that video where they're hustling her into her van and carting her away as fast as possible because something was clearly wrong. I mean, think about that. This woman was taking heavy tranquilizers to cope with her life at the moment. And she wanted to be in charge of the nuclear arsenal. And we got Joe Biden for 4 years, who many claim was not cognitively capable. I mean, his autopin was making decisions he had no idea about. But that is scary, Michael Hichborn. That, one, these people want power, but they can't handle it. And number two, we can be manipulated into giving power to people who have to have heavy tranquilizers just to get through the day. It seems rather insane to me.
Have you ever seen, I'm sure you're a fan of Star Trek. Have you seen the episode where Kirk and Spock and all them, they go to this planet full of Nazis? Have you ever seen that episode?
Sure, yeah.
All right. So there's a particular scene in there that I think is very interesting because the guy that created that Nazi planet, he thought, well, you know, I'm just going to create these Nazis and it's going to make the planet more efficient. But unfortunately, they wound up adopting a lot of the genocidal ideologies of the Nazis and things went bad. Well, at one point, the guy who did this is seen giving a speech and all the Nazis in the room are sitting there applauding what he's doing. But behind the wall, what you see is Kirk and Spock. They're looking at him. They're going, watch his lips. His lips aren't moving. And they go into the room where he is, and they're like, Dr. McCoy looks at him. He says, Jim, he's been drugged. And the whole thing kind of unravels that, look, he was just kind of a figurehead being used by people manipulating things behind the scenes. It really was kind of a very interesting episode, specifically given what we saw in the last 4 years with Joe Biden. He was a puppet. And I think that Hillary Clinton would have been a puppet. And ultimately, when you look at the Democratic Party, the whole process of that side of the football, they are addicted to propping up figureheads who act as puppets for some larger, deeper international globalist scheme. And at the end of the day, the intelligence community is the one who seems to be pulling the levers of power there.
Is it the intelligence community or is it Barack Obama? Because he seems to be the puppet master in this story. He's the one. It was hit with his direction that his admin put together all of this stuff in collaboration with Hillary Clinton's campaign on the Steele dossier and all of this. So what role does he play?
Oh, I think he plays a big role. I think he was maybe – I don't think he was the mastermind. I think that he was the latest, most intelligent person on the ground to try and pull all of this together. But I think that when you start looking into the history of the intelligence community, especially the CIA, you start to realize that they've been manipulating things for quite some time. And, you know, you look at what happened with JFK, for instance, and you start to realize maybe the people in power aren't really in as much power as we thought they were.
Right. Yeah. You know, that's something we should talk about in great detail at some point, because there are Catholic roots in the origins of the CIA. There were a lot of Catholics. Dulles, if I'm not mistaken, was Catholic, and others drawn from
his brother.
Drawn from Ivy League schools, brought together to take the OSS into a whole new realm. And maybe that should be a topic someday. Hey, coming up after the break, though, I want to get into the Pell story. You might recall that documentary film from 1990 called Godfather Part 3, where this crime family was involved at the Vatican, trying to negotiate some deals to launder money through the Vatican Bank. Actually, stuff like that really did happen in real life. And to talk about the CIA is involved in that, another time for that part. But, it's interesting because there was a Cardinal Pell story that came out this week about him. God rest his soul, by the way. I'm going to link to this article. Pell ordered investigation into potentially illegal APSA banking system. He saw some anomalies. He wanted them investigated. And some are saying this is what led him to be charged with molesting a child and be put in prison back in Australia. Again, Michael Hichborn from Lepanto Institute is on the team today at lepantoin.org. Michael, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out with us today. What do you think of the Pell story?
Well, I think it's very interesting. It's not something that was shocking to me. I remember reading about several Vatican Bank scandals going way back. I mean, if you go back to the 1970s and you see that the Vatican Bank scandal with regard to the Freemasons having control of certain assets in the Vatican Bank, there was a big audit that was supposed to take place. And then, of course, Pope John Paul I died very shortly after his election. And then you have, I think it was one of the heads of the bank, or at least maybe it was even the head of the Vatican Bank, who wound up hanging from a bridge.
Right.
So you start putting the pieces together. There's something very strange going on here. Well, with this particular story, that Cardinal Pell was charged with taking a look at the Vatican finances and putting pieces together and looking into the way things are going. And what he found out was that APSA, which it's effectively basically the Vatican Bank, had some sort of mechanism in it that allowed certain financial records to be shielded so that you couldn't discover the owner or the source of funds of particular transactions. And so Pell asked the Auditor General at the time, Libero Maloney, to look into it and to see what's going on. And what he put together in a memo, 2016, one day after APSA, and this is from the article in The Pillar, one day after APSA, which was subject to several waves of institutional reform during the Francis pontificate, recorded a profit of 62.2 million euros in 2024, which was up from 49.5 million euros. And so Maloney started looking into these transactions, and what he put together was that he said that within 48 hours, he had become aware of a possible significant risk in the processing of SWIFT transactions. Now, I want to point out that mention of SWIFT certainly got my attention, because people may recall that in 2013, actually it was the end of 2012, the Vatican Bank had serious problems, and that SWIFT transactions were turned off, which meant that the Vatican couldn't conduct international financial operations for, I think, a month, maybe a month and a half. And it was very shortly after that happened that Pope Benedict XVI announced that he was resigning from the papacy. And then shortly after his resignation, the transactions went back on.
Yeah. So it's, again, stuff made of Hollywood, right? All these stories that we're talking about, they're so bizarre. They're so far out there. You'd think they were written in Hollywood, and they're real. I mean, Hollywood has to get all of its material from the real life, because that's how dramatic all this stuff is. Vigano tried to audit the bank, got him fired from his job. Pell tried to audit the bank, got him sent to prison in Australia. And some say, his enemies were bribed, in order to prosecute him there. Maloney tried to do his due diligence as the auditor, got him fired, and now he's trying to pursue getting his reputation repaired, because as an auditor, if you've been fired because of some sort of malpractice, well, you're not going to get another job. And he's trying to protect his reputation and that of his colleague who's now dead. His case has been dismissed. I mean, there's a clear track record here of something really, really shady in all this. And yet, I haven't heard anything out of Pope Leo or the current administration of the Vatican on bank reforms. Have you?
Not at all. It's interesting. If you've ever read the book Windswept House by Malachi Martin, he goes into great detail about the Vatican Bank and the Vatican Bank scandals and the Freemasons that are involved with the Vatican Bank and the Masonic families that are involved with the banking systems in the Vatican. It's, you pointed out that this is the stuff of Hollywood. Well, one of the reasons that Malachi Martin said that he wrote this as an historical fiction is because he likes his kneecaps. And I wonder if certain individuals in the Vatican right now like their kneecaps more than they want to investigate the Vatican Bank.
Wow. So I guess everybody just goes along to get along at this point. They don't really push that envelope too far because of that track record. For your point you just made, nobody wants to lose their kneecaps over this. So is this just something we have to live with?
Well, it's not something we have to live with. I think that's something that we should be, this is what historic virtue is built on, right? We say that we stand for truth and we expose falsehoods and we do damage to the enemies regardless of any, damage that we might suffer ourselves. In fact, we willingly embrace suffering for the good. So I think that what we need and what we should be praying for is heroic virtue on the part of the Pope and on the part of his curia, who are willing to die for the good of Holy Mother Church. So it's not a lost cause. If it were politics, I would say forget about it. It's just, that's just money blowing in the wind. Yeah. But because it's the church, we have to look at the life of grace within the church, and we recognize that sometimes a body gets sick, but a body is healed or improves health after a fever. And we have to have a fever. We've got to go through that fever to see the expulsion of the disease that is happening within the Vatican Bank, and of course all of the other scandalous things that are wrapped up in the money. I mean, it goes all the way back to Judas, who was stealing money from the apostolic purse. So this is not surprising.
So what would it take then? I mean, we're down to the last couple minutes here, but what would it take to audit the bank and be transparent about it if there's this much corruption involved?
Well, I'm not I'm not well versed in how banking works, so I can't say for sure what it would take, and I don't have any close knowledge of what's happening at the Vatican Bank. But the fact that Libero Maloney, who was ostensibly in charge of the Vatican Bank, wasn't able to get anything done tells me that there has to be something that would cut off the entire mechanism and then rebuild it. I don't know how you would do that.
Let me ask you
that's even
Let me
possible.
ask you a different question. Do you think, because now we got seconds on the clock, do you think that a leak of all of the documentation similar to the Russiagate scandal, do you think someone leaking that into the public would do any good?
I think that would do a lot of good, and in fact, it would be very enlightening to a lot of us. Yeah, absolutely, that could definitely help.
Another Vati leaks. They could send the butler back to jail. It'd be great. All right, Michael Hichborn, thanks for hanging out. You want to hang out with us on the after show? I got Dr. Stine coming back on as well. If you want to be a part of the after show, you got to go to thestationofthecross.com/ACT.
And we're back. Welcome to the after show, everyone. And if you can believe it, it is Friday once again.
I can't believe it at all, actually. I think we should work an extra day just to be sure.
Yes.
Just to be safe.
Yes, we need to have a 6-day.
Yeah,
6-day work.
Totally.
We should all work 6 10s.
Is it me, or has 2025 blown past us?
It so has.
Yeah. Yeah.
What in the world? Yeah, you're
It's
so right about
already
that.
my least favorite month of the year. So
August. Yeah. I was thinking
just
the
I have
same
a
thing.
track record of weird things happening to me in August. So I decided to, usually for the negative, which is why I decided to get married in August.
There you go.
You know, try to break the track record. Try
Make
to break
something
the track
good.
record of, Right, exactly. It's not try to break the track record of like a almost superstitious view of the month by getting married in the month instead.
August. I think of August as
I hate August just because it's hot.
Because it's hot. Yeah, exactly. Because it's really nasty weather-wise, generally speaking. Hey, let me give some shout-outs here. Good morning to you, Jane and Jerome. No holidays in August. That's true, except for my daughter's birthday.
The Assumption.
There you go. Thanks, Jake. Oh, Jake, Mr. Positive. Always Mr. Positive.
Right in the middle of the month, the Assumption. Great holiday.
There you go. Yeah,
wonderful
praise
holiday.
God. Well said. Jane, good morning again. Jerome, good morning. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Praise be to God. Sci-Fi Mike, good morning to you. Mike K., our friend from sunny Virginia. Hopefully you're back on Monday. James 16897 from Romania. Praise be to God. Good morning. Rebecca, I see you there. Paul, good morning to you. Honey West, good morning. Damon, good morning. Thanks for being on the team today, everybody. Sharon, I see you there. Praise be to God. Good morning, everybody. By the way, Christopher was giving me some advice on creatine. So far, 0 benefits from creatine so far. Zero. It's supposed to like help me be sharper, more cognitively plugged in, and I'm going to say that is absolutely not happening. So
creatine is the most studied supplement on the market. Its principal use is to help you in the gym, and it's been proven to do that.
Yeah,
it's thought to have cognitive benefits, and it could. How long have you been taking creatine for?
I just started actually this week.
Okay, yeah, well, it's going to take a while.
That's what I'm.
It takes
about.
days for you to get the gym benefits, let alone the cognitive benefits.
Yeah, I've been. I rewatched what this doctor lady said that I kind of targeted me to start this process, and I went back and watched it. She's like 5 to 10 grams a day if you're in the gym, 20 grams a day if you're trying to get your brain to work. Okay, so I gotta ramp. That's the thing. I gotta ramp. Alberto, good morning to you. Patience is a virtue. Patience. I don't have time for patience. Okay, so patience is for people who want 3 and 4 day work weeks.
Isn't that line from Predator? I ain't got time for patience.
Good time for which character?
Jesse Ventura.
Is it Jesse that said that? I could almost. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's what it was, or maybe it was. I ain't got time to bleed. Maybe that was what it was.
I got time to bleed. Yeah. That's a good one.
You have time to duck?
Yeah. I have time to duck. Oh, boy.
That's back when I liked Jesse Ventura. I don't like him anymore.
He ruined his reputation pretty quickly.
So, Joe, if you really want to improve your cognitive abilities, especially as you're drinking coffee in the morning, you should put about a teaspoon or a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of coconut oil in your coffee.
Yep. I actually do. I have coconut oil in there right now.
Very good. MCT.
I don't have butter though. Butter's not butter in there.
Add a little butter.
But I add coconut oil to my black coffee every day. I can add butter. That'd be great.
You can just put butter on whatever you're eating in the morning too.
Oh, I do that.
Butter and
I do that as well.
Or you could just eat a stick of butter.
I do actually take in a lot of butter.
There's a carnivore influencer out there who actually will talk about how she'll go out and ride a bus in public eating sticks of butter.
It's that stuff strikes me as just performative, honestly.
Well, she doesn't film it, so I kind of give her a pass on that because she doesn't film it herself doing it. She'll film herself doing it just to prove that she actually can eat a stick of butter. But
Traditionalist Catholic is on the team this morning. Good morning to you, brother. So why put coconut oil in coffee? Well, one of the reasons why I put coconut oil in my coffee is because I'm trying to make sure that my black coffee doesn't trigger any insulin issues for me. I'm in a fasting state. I don't want to remain in a fasting state, but if I want to be able to read, copy, and speak in any kind of articulated way, I have to have coffee to do that. So the coconut oil helps to make sure, because black coffee can trigger insulin in some people. And I've had mixed results when I've taken my blood samples in the morning. I've had some mixed results there. So the coconut oil helps to hedge the bet.
I'm going to tell you, by the way, that you put coconut oil in your coffee, you're not in a fasted state anymore. Once you get like 10 calories in.
Okay. Dr. Stein's canceled. I can't have this negative news anymore. I'm like, what? Stop. Stop it.
Yeah, it's tough.
You're killing me. What? I might as well put a jar of honey in here now. I mean, what's the difference?
I've already might as well.
My fast.
Yeah, you might as well.
If you wouldn't do it on a total fast for religious reasons, then you shouldn't do it also for the nutrition reasons. Because as it turns out, all that, that church stuff about fasting and abstinence, it turns out to be healthy for you too. Go figure.
Go figure.
Go figure.
By the way, speaking of no holidays, today is a holiday. It's not only the feast of St. Peter in Chains and the Holy Maccabees, but it's the old Anglo-Saxon festival of Lammas, which is blessing of bread. Yep, and the first kind of big festival of the harvest season. August is when we switch from summer into looking towards the harvest in England.
So when are the next rogation days?
Rogation days?
Not rogation.
The Ember Days?
Ember Day, thank you.
They are in September.
Creatine ain't working. Creatine's not working.
They're in September. The next rogation days are in September. They're after the Feast of the Holy Cross, and the way you can remember it is Lenti, Penti, Cruci, Lucy.
Easier for you to say.
Lenti, Penti, Cruci, Lucy. You've got the Ember Days of Lent, Ember Days of Pentecost, Ember Days after the Holy Cross, and Ember Days after St. Lucy in December in Advent. So there you go.
You mentioned St. Peter in Chains, by the way. I got to visit there last time. Not the last time.
Oh, did you get to see the chains? The chains?
Yeah, I actually included a clip of that in my documentary film on the End Times when I was there. But also when you're there, so you've got the relics. You mentioned the relics of the Maccabees. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that. You got the chains that held Peter in the Mamertine prison there. But if you turn to the right, what do you got? You got the famous Moses with the horns.
Oh yeah. I love that.
They're actually rays of light, but whatever. They look like horns to me. I remember the first time I ever saw that. It was in the narthex of the cathedral in Manchester, New Hampshire. It was like a miniature version of that exact statue, and it had the horns. And I'm like, why is there a devil in the narthex? That's awfully bizarre. And they're like, that's not the devil. I'm like, it's got horns. I'm like, that's Moses. I went,
Oregon. My old parish in Portland, Oregon had a statue of St. Michael standing on Satan, and it was the problematic image of that where Satan had certain, we'll call them Middle Eastern features that people found problematic, but we had that statue. But technically, my old parish had a
Saracen features?
No, they were Jewish features.
Oh, Semitic features.
They were like they weren't like internet meme 21st century Gen Z edgy internet meme level of those features, but they were the classic features. And the priest kind of was like, yeah, we're not going to get rid of this. We're just going to acknowledge that it's not the best look.
It's the Antichrist look. What are you talking about? It's the look of the Antichrist. Nothing wrong with that. It's just factual.
Now, the one thing that we didn't talk about today when talking about the social media stuff was the unintentionally funniest story of the whole week, which was the Vatican using quote unquote hot priests.
Yeah, I talked about it. Yeah. I got into that.
Father McTagg did a little video on that too. Yeah,
that was great. Yeah.
Everybody on our general side of things commented on that because we can all disagree on leadership from the Vatican right now on certain things, but I think we all agree that is a terrible look coming from.
So cringy. Yeah.
Did any official sources imply that phrasing, that title, or anything like that? Like
no,
that was just the media report, right?
Just the media reportage.
Because I would not have been surprised if someone had come out and said something stupid. But
those are the guys who got the invites, though.
Oh yeah, of course.
I remember going to Rome and seeing calendars in various, shops around the Vatican, and they were selling all sorts of paraphernalia. But some of the calendars, they were pictures of, I think they were seminarians, but they were all good-looking young seminarians, and so they were selling these calendars of them. It's not quite the level of fireman calendars, but it's still it's gaudy and it's just
and frankly, with the Lavender Mafia being a real thing, especially in Rome, it's totally uncalled for.
It's one thing to have prayer cards available so you can adopt a seminarian sort of thing. My family's done that, but the kind of making again the whole celebrity aspect just
Well, I think we should be somewhat fair to the priest with the pecs, because listen, I can appreciate this. I can totally relate. When you're good looking and you're in great shape, you attract undue attention. It just is part of life. It's just not fair to him in these good looking young priests with all of their skin tight clothes on their telegrams.
I'm just going to
we just judge them.
Remind you that a certain American celebrity priest by the name of Father James Martin is an advisor to the dicastery for communications.
Exactly. Yes. So cringy. So cringy.
I wish they could see what it looks like outside the bubble. Is all I'm saying.
Okay. I don't want to start a feud, a war, or anything with Michael Lofton. I don't, or his fans that might hang out in the chat box at all. But talk about cringe too. It's like Michael Lofton going above and beyond in his video. Hey guys, the Swiss Guard just allowed me to come into the back end of the Vatican for a private tour of the Vatican Gardens. Yeah, it's called a group tour, and you did it with everybody else. Like everybody got past the Swiss Guards. What are you talking about? Like, why are you characterizing it that way?
Somebody posted a screenshot of it or something, of a tweet that he posted, and I that's what I saw. I don't watch a lot of Catholic content as a general rule. I don't want to actually rip off somebody else's what they're saying.
Hey, listen, I'm happy for Lofton. I mean, enjoy it. Make the most out of it. It's great. Praise God. But come on, you characterize it in a way like that makes it more. It was something that it wasn't. You know, like, I mean, it's fine. You got a private tour of the gardens. That's awesome.
This reminds me, like, this happens with everything, though. It's always like people were doing this when Pope Leo got elected, and they were saying he used a blessing in Latin that hasn't been used since the days of Pope Pius XII. No, it's the exact same one that Pope Francis did. Like Pope Francis had celebrated Mass ad orientem in certain chapels.
Yeah, that was my favorite one.
Yeah,
my favorite one was like he celebrated Mass ad orientem, but you look at that chapel, and it's literally the only way you could offer the Mass.
The only way to do it, and there are pictures of Pope Francis having done it. Like you got to temper what you're actually seeing and reporting on, and it's the same mindset. And I think it's almost, just in a charitable sense, you can assume that it's almost unconscious, on the part of someone like Michael Lofton reporting that, because he's excited. It's like, look at the special thing that I'm doing. Like he's not thinking, hey guys, everyone gets to do this. That's because that doesn't. No one's
everybody does.
No one's interested in the story. No one's interested in the story of, hey, I'm on a group tour. Like everyone's like, the Swiss Guard just let me in the back of the Vatican. Whoa, that's social media disease. Like it's present everywhere. Right. That's what it is. It's social media disease. This is so special.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I got let into the back end when I had to go to the Scavi tour. Yeah, I thought that was cool. But so
there's nothing wrong with it being cool. Tour. It is cool. You know,
everybody else got to go.
It was cool to see Pope Leo celebrating ad orientem. It's cool that he says the Angelus in Latin. But you got to. I felt that
way when Francis was first elected. When Francis was first elected, there was this emphasis on so many of the things like, oh, look at Francis. Remember that story? Like, oh, he snuck out to hang out with the poor in Rome, and he did this and he did that and he did this. And I remember a friend of mine was like bringing all this up to me and like, oh, look at Francis, he's so different. Look what he's done to the gypsies, and and I'm like, hold on. I go, those exact same stories. I mean, almost word for word, were said about JP too. He snuck out. Yep. He helped the gypsies. He did this. He did that. It's like, it's almost as if they've just taken the same playbook and reused it for Francis.
Well, that's why have you ever seen? That's why there was a show that I will not endorse because it has impurity in it, and I watched it before I knew better. But it's The Young Pope. Don't watch it. Watch the clips. The clips on YouTube are basically the best stuff. But they made fun of this whole thing by having their young pope sneak out in the middle of the night in like sweats with his one of his advisors, and they got a slice of pizza in Rome in the middle of the night. Yeah, they just made fun of the whole thing because literally every one of them seemed to at some point go, I got to get out of this place. And they go sneak out into Rome to get coffee or do some ministry work or something.
Yeah, everyone wants to get away from
that. The Fisherman?
Yes. I was going to bring that up. Thank you for bringing that up, Michael. It's a great movie, actually. It's a family-friendly film. It's fun.
Yeah, it's pretty all right. I mean, if you pay close attention, Anthony Quinn plays pretty much a liberal pope.
Yep.
Hold on. Pardon me. Sorry. I know what I'm confusing things. That creatine has not kicked in. Yes. Shoes of the Fisherman I have seen. That's not the film in my mind. There's a different film that portrays a pope who sneaks out, goes to a rundown Catholic village on a mountain, and becomes the local parish priest. for a time before he's brought back to the Vatican. And we watched it as a family.
That's not this movie.
and this movie was filmed like in the 80s. And I'm trying to remember it, but we watched it as a family. It was actually a good film. Like he rebuilds this broken down chapel on this hillside, and people start coming to mass again. And he really loved being like a parish priest again. And it sort of reinvigorated him. So when he came back to the Vatican, he was like a better pope for it. So I forget the name of it. That's what I thought you were bringing up, but I crossed the stream. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no. The Shoes of the Fisherman has Anthony Quinn. He plays a cardinal who gets elected to the papacy, and all those stories about sneaking out and helping poor people in the streets of Rome. That's exactly what he does in the film, and this was all the way back in the 1970s, early 1970s.
Was it 70s or 60s? It was Cold War era.
I think it was late 60s, early 70s. Might have been like 71, 68, something like that.
I remember
I thought it was like 1968.
68.
By the way, real quick, Richard Corwin, he's got some prayer requests he wants us to keep in prayers here today. He says, please pray for Kevin, cancer, Vanessa, who has cancer, treatments, Chuck, who has a reemergence of cancer, Jamie and Lori, who are going through tough times, Jim and Linda, who is old and infirm. So let's keep them in our prayers today and pray for all those that are suffering today as well. Richard Corwin, thank you for that. I do appreciate you. We'll be praying for that. I can't remember the name of that other movie. I want to remember the name of the other movie because I want to say I found it on YouTube. Or maybe
as long as we've got prayer requests going out, if we could, if your audience could keep my mother in your prayers. Today is her birthday.
Absolutely.
Oh, happy birthday, Mom. Praise be to God. What is Mom going to do on her birthday today? Skydive?
Bungee
jumping?
She was
alligator wrestling?
She was looking to go swimming with sharks.
There we go.
Praise be to God. See, I knew somebody does that on their birthday.
Yes.
Something funny and cool. 1968 says Paul.
Yeah.
On that movie, on the Shoes of the Fisherman. By the way, Don Franco suggests we do an ACT calendar. Perhaps Michael could be January. Anthony Stine could be for August, since he wants to make August popular again. Praise be to God. What month would Jake be? That's the question.
I'll be June, the best month.
June, the best month.
Yeah.
Lucia, good morning to you. We still have Brent Haynes. The funny thing about Brent Haynes is he still would just be his headshot.
Yeah, just use the same one he always uses. That'd be great with the little audio meter.
We got Koniger. He'd be back. That would be so funny, actually.
That'd be really funny.
That'd be great. Paul Stump, as Mad Men stated, butter is fresh, margarine is forever. Yeah, let that sink in.
Yes, exactly. Which one is that endorsing?
That's not a good thing. Crisco oil as well. Bad stuff. Don't ever do it. Don Franco says, try the bio superfood spirulina. I don't know. I've never heard of it.
Yeah.
Spirulina. What is that? Is that like natural or is that synthetic? What is that? Spirulina. I've never heard of it. Joe, that will pick up your energy levels. I'm looking for cognitive sharpness. That's my problem. Don Franco, again, good morning, Patty. Good morning to you. Angelique, good morning. Thanks for hanging out with us. Donald Junior Barra, everybody on the Facebooks, and good morning to you. I see over on the Rumbles, James 16897 from sunny Romania. Honey West is over there. Gogrensa, good morning to you. Gus DMH, Lynn Pine, KZ2, good morning to all of you. Thanks for hanging out. Eric Powell,
is a type of
smack yourself. Algae. There's not going to be any ACT
right?
swimsuits. No swimsuit calendars from the ACT team. Thank you.
Well, maybe if they're old school, early 1900s, like the stripy, like one-piece full bathing suits, like Dick Van Dyke wears and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, that'd be great. I think we could get away with that.
I haven't seen that in a long time. Pope.
I remember who else is in Shoes of the Fisherman. Isn't Oscar Werner in it? I think Oscar Werner's in it.
Yes.
He played. Yeah.
Yes.
There's a few other good actors
Laurence
in
Olivier.
It. Yeah. It's a shame because it's a great cast and it's an interesting idea, but it comes off as so proto Pope Francis type of like.
I found the movie.
Yep.
Picks a weird unique name. He's things are going to be different type of thing. It just,
Yep.
So what is interesting is that it came out before the election of our Polish Pope, and it was predicting the election of a Slavic Pope. Very, very interesting. Some predictive programming going on there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have found the movie, and here's what I'm going to do. I think I want to say I've emailed this before, but because I have been so horrible at emailing the email list and harassing my email list lately, I will send an email out today. So if you want to get on the email list today, and I also have to figure out, make sure my autoresponder is responding. It might not be. I might need to go back and fix that. So with the film, if you just want to look it up and you want to save yourself the trouble of me harassing your inbox, that's fine too. Saving Grace is the name of the film. I'm seeing it on YouTube's right now. The whole film. It's an hour and 60 minutes, maybe. Hour and 51 minutes. Saving Grace, 1986. I've watched this film with my kids before. I can't recall anything really in it that was not good, but maybe there's some language or something along the way. I really can't remember, to be honest. So have some caution, but I remember watching it with my kids and thinking, oh, that was a pretty decent movie. So there you go, Saving Grace. But I'll send it out to the email list today as a Friday email that I haven't sent in at least a month. Hey, Polachiccio, testosterone is supposed to help with mental fogginess. Did you just call me a sissy in a very sophisticated way? Is that what you just did, Polachiccio?
No, he's recognizing that men of our age typically have testosterone issues. It's common.
Did you just call me an old fogey sissy?
Yes.
Polachiccio, my friend. I'm kidding.
An old fogey.
If you're old, so am I. So.
He said foggy, not fogey.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
Get off my lawn, you
You're old and
whippersnapper.
foggy, yeah.
Polachiccio.
And you can do that. You can fix any testosterone issues with proper supplementation. You don't need to go to prescriptions for that.
Yeah.
Just,
you should reserve
resistance.
You know what boosts
training helps with it,
testosterone?
too.
Bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Eating red meat will boost your testosterone, actually.
Working out.
Yep.
Boost your
as
testosterone.
Alberto says, pump iron.
Pump iron.
Pump iron.
Very good.
This is why young men who politically are ambiguous, they start working out, they almost always become right wingers.
Exactly. It's so funny. They literally admit it, too. They admit it. It's so good.
Oh, boy. Yikes.
The most reasonable left-wing men I've ever had conversations with all happen to be guys who hit the gym. They had views I disagreed with. They weren't lunatics.
Yeah, exactly.
I wonder why.
Speaking of that, there was a whole thing on viral on X this week about some supermodel in jeans or whatever, and then people were contrasting. They started to contrast. The lady in the jeans, she's supposed to be conservative, and they had pictures of crazy liberals dressed wacky as the liberals.
She's no. Her initials were SS. Because of that, it was a Nazi dog whistle. I heard this from people.
That actress is not conservative at all, by the way. At all.
My point was it's immodest no matter what. Yes. So it's like, what are we even talking about?
Right.
Like, conservatism has lost its mind.
The only thing to cheer here, there's two things, I guess. One is it's marginally less disordered than having people who are just, reject basic natural law and natural sense, including like elevating the ugly and things. If them not being celebrated anymore, that's something worth celebrating.
If the modesty levels or immodesty, for more like, are comparable, it is objectively better to be promoting fitness over like gross obesity, right? That's but we're still scraping the bottom of the barrel at this point.
Now, the other thing is, though, that I think is worth celebrating is it's upset all the right people. And I'm okay with that. I really am.
Yeah.
If some person out there at a time when the political future of the country in the next election is a little wishy-washy, if all the worst elements who alienated half the population are screaming loudly about having a relatively normal-looking person, in your advertisements, that most people think is attractive, how that's fascistic and eugenics and all sorts of other stuff. I say let them be angry and put a microphone and a camera in front of their faces and elevate them.
Yeah, show them how insane they are. Show people how insane they are.
Those people,
give them enough rope.
Those people would get upset over a photograph of lace-up shoes because it excludes people who don't have fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's ableist.
That's funny.
Yep.
By the way, I guess it was Darren Sutton. You are so right. I do curls quite often. Like, lifting this cup so many times. I should be generating testosterone right now with this workout that I'm doing. So I think it was a good point you made.
See, this is why I have 8 kids, because, my eldest just graduated college, but, I've had, a lot of time picking up young kids all day long, tossing them in the air. That's great exercise. My 2-year-old
does take extra.
It takes a lot of exercise being a dad of young children. So
it's true. It's so true. Susie, good morning.
Kids, all of them under 6. It's exhausting.
Justy, good morning. How do we get on to the NFL, by the way? When did that come out? Was that related to this to the Sweeney thing? I don't even know. Flying Tigers is here. Good morning to you, Rob. Speaking of Malachi Martin, Flying Tigers has his book coming out in October from Simon & Schuster on Malachi Martin. So we're looking forward to that. Was it December? I thought it was October.
My pre-order was December.
Was it? Oh, boy.
He'll tell you in the chat. I'm pretty sure it's December, though.
You gotta tell us which one it is. Flying Tigers, don't anger me or I'll get the Joe Anderson after you. Yikes. All right. Robert the Bruce, good morning to you. Gugwenza, good morning to you. Now back to movies and food. No sports, says Gugwenza. You don't want any digressions into sports?
Such a shame, because sports are great objectively. And the world of sports. Yes, the world of sports is
or
just
is
so
sports
bad.
Gay? That's the question of the day.
Yeah, sports is great objectively. The world of sports nowadays is the culture of sports. It's all just so garbage. Like, it's just gay.
Well, it's because again, you have a lot of the same people who are very, very angry about a woman that the world considers to be attractive in a very normal kind of way. They're the same people who run the NFL. Did you know that? The NFL's run by leftists. I'm not even joking. I wish, same with Major League Baseball and obviously the NBA.
Yep.
So, people who don't like sports,
surprisingly though, of all the various sports out there, I think that I've seen the most pro-lifers coming out of the NFL.
Oh yeah, that's not surprising either, because who plays football? People who play football and people who run those leagues are not the same people, not usually.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
I was what's
back in
name?
the 80s.
That movie.
When I was working at American Life League, we had a video that was produced by American Life League back in the 90s, and I can't remember what the name of the video was, but they had all sorts of NFL figures that were a part of this thing. They had statements from Mara, who owned the New York Giants. He was very pro-life, good Catholic. Rooney, who owned the Pittsburgh Steelers back in the 1960s and 70s and 80s, he was a very strong pro-lifer. The guy that owned the Chicago Bears, strong Catholic pro-lifer. Mike Ditka gave a statement with regard to the pro-life movement. He is also very strong Catholic pro-life. So it's interesting looking through some of these archived videos and seeing these individuals that I just really enjoyed sports back in the 80s, the NFL and football, but seeing them come out and being very strongly Catholic and very strongly pro-life was very edifying.
Yeah. I mean, there's stories about, Vince Lombardi going to mass every Sunday before the game. Other ones, maybe Tom Landry was. I'm not sure. There were a few of the different coaches were known for being. Roger Staubach was a good Catholic. Yeah. Don Shula, exactly. Yeah. You still had figures where that wasn't, weird or controversial, that sort of thing.
Right.
And now, Harrison Butker is practically, if he wasn't such a great kicker on a multi-championship winning team, he'd be a pariah, and he almost is anyway. So That's the thing.
Well, both the Harbaughs.
Yeah, and it's not to say that even back in the old days, again, sports was already a culture of celebrity. It was already had a lot of degeneracy present. A lot of these guys weren't great guys. There was still that culture was already bad in that sense, but there was more of the good to balance it out, and you didn't feel as guilty taking part in enjoying it because it was okay. Well, it's entertainment. It's like watching a movie. It's like whatever any of these things. Because it's so blatant with its pushing of bad social issues now, it just feels worse and worse and worse to take any part in it. Like it's just getting more and more overtly corrupted and not just a there's bad people, but there's some good people. I like watching this, that, and the other. So just a shame. It's a shame because sports are good. It's good to be active. It's good to be competitive. It's a very masculine thing. Sports in general are great, and I will still happily go to like a minor league baseball game. I still think those there's a lot of worthy. It's a worthy family friendly entertainment thing.
Family friendly.
There's almost never any really objectionable stuff going on. Right. So unless you're maybe.
But if you want to get into a fight, you got to go to a soccer game.
No, you got to go to a hockey game. Except even that's been made worse these days.
Into a fight, if you really want to get after.
There's not enough brain injuries in hockey anymore.
Hockey is so
not enough.
It's been so effeminized, I would say.
Yeah.
Does it? I mean, I can't even remember the last headline of a hockey game I've heard. Like, do you guys still play hockey? Is that still a thing?
The NHL has been
never heard of.
The NHL has always been terrible at promoting the game and dealing with
that
television networks and everything like that. They've
documentary
always been
film on
terrible
hockey starring Rob Lowe back in the day.
Youngblood?
Yeah. Remember that?
Remember Slapshot?
Never heard of it. Slapshot.
Paul Newman?
Paul Newman.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. That's right. Teaching him how to get into a fight.
I think The Mighty Ducks is the only hockey movie I've ever seen.
Mighty Ducks, classic. Miracle? You haven't seen Miracle?
You've got to see Miracle.
Miracle is legitimately a great movie. Kurt Russell's awesome in it.
Yep.
With Trad
Is that the one about
Brooks.
the U.S. being Russian?
Yes. Yeah, that's a legitimately really good recent-ish
Put that
Disney
on your
film.
movie list.
Beverly coming in from down under says, "No, Joe, soccer is sissy compared to rugby." That's true.
Yep.
That's true. I'll give you that one.
In my day, we called soccer communist kickball.
I don't know. Well, listen, soccer is like a sport that's played all over the planet. It's kind of a big deal.
Sounds pretty communist to me.
It does it? I don't know, man.
No, I like soccer when it's good. When it's good, soccer is it deserves the moniker the beautiful game. It's great,
I don't mind soccer at all. I like watching soccer. I could play soccer.
A lot of soccer players do not inspire.
That's true. That's so true. But yeah. Oh boy.
There was an Onion video. There was a video from the Onion a number of years ago that announced that soccer has announced that it is a gay sport.
Yeah, well, there's truth to that. There's definitely truth to that.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, though, speaking of sports, next year, when we go to Scotland and England, we are going to be having some fun with some sports, and that is the dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Remember that? Chariots of Fire?
Marathon?
We're going to recreate that scene on the beach.
Where it was filmed?
On our way. Yeah, we're gonna stop by. That's on the route.
That's a great film.
We're gonna stop by there. My favorite take on that was with Mr. Bean, though. You ever seen Mr. Bean's Chariot of Fire skit?
Yeah,
that's the one to
was
watch.
that at the 2012 Olympics?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I think it was at the 2012 Olympics. He was doing
it. Might be
where he's playing the note.
He's playing the dun,
that was during the opening ceremonies of the 2012 Olympics.
Yeah, it's great. It's so good. It's funny. My kids are all excited about that too. They're like, "Oh, we're gonna go do the Mr. Bean thing. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be fun. We're looking forward to it."
Good point.
Good
point. Sci-Fi Mike says, as far as hockey movies are concerned, Strange Brew. That is correct. That is both a great hockey movie and a great beer movie, and maybe the best Canadian film. I don't know.
Canadians make films.
Can we get some Canadians in here to chime in on if that is the greatest Canadian film? Strange Brew.
I didn't even know they made films. Are you kidding me? Can Canadians make films?
Are you kidding? Do you want to get into comparing?
What?
Do you want to get into comparing SCTV versus SNL?
Oh well, that's not a film. That's television.
That's
but
filmmaking.
Okay.
Those are film.
No,
those are future film stars making TV.
But SCTV is a TV show, and
you want to get into comparing
TV show. I thought we were talking about films. Do they make films?
Yes, Strange Brew, which came out of SCTV. I'm saying it's the greatest.
What's the next one? Name me another Canadian film.
Anne of Green Gables.
You just took that from T.L.
TV
Russell.
movie, but no, I didn't.
T.L. Russell put that in the chat box. Anne of Green Gables. Anne of Green Gables is a Canadian production?
Yeah, of course.
Is it really?
Oh yeah,
Final
absolutely.
Sacrifice.
It takes part on PEI.
What do I know? I don't know.
Helen Grace, you haven't seen Strange Brew? Oh, you've got to see Strange Brew.
I've never seen Strange Brew.
That is maybe the
I've
greatest
never seen
Canadian
it
film.
either.
Speaking of surprises this week, yesterday...
Helen Grace is yelling at you, Joe.
Yes, Joe, Canadians can make film. Then name me a good film, Helen Grace.
Strange Brew.
Name me one. Okay, I haven't seen that. I can't.
Yeah, I know,
I
you
can't,
gotta see it.
I can't endorse a film I haven't seen, and I'm still skeptical that Anne of Green Gables is a Canadian production. I need to fact check that.
Mystery Science Theater. They riffed on probably the worst film I've ever seen, called The Final Sacrifice, which came out of Canada.
Oof.
And I'll tell you, that is probably the funniest hour and a half I've ever watched, was their riff on that particular movie.
Joe, weren't we talking recently about doing a Mystery Science Theater bit? Yeah.
That'd be brilliant. Problem is, we'd have to put the cameras behind us so that it just gets the back of our head.
Yes.
Because otherwise it wouldn't be like Mystery Science.
I know. Well, all we need is
the Mystery
silhouettes. Yeah.
The Mystery Science Theater guys have, or at least they did have, this thing called riff tracks.
Yep.
They all, after their contract,
they still do.
Where you would watch more newer movies and you could pay to have their commentary done, so you could time it and kick it on when you watch the movie at home. Mm-hmm. So, like, their famous one is Twilight. That's like their most famous one.
Yeah.
They're still doing it because every Marvel movie is a license to print money for those guys, if that was the case.
Yeah, exactly. The thing about, riff tracks is funny, but there's something extra special about watching the terrible, B movies and public domain stuff. Like, there's an extra charm to it. Even though them making fun of the new stuff is often very funny. I've seen quite a lot of funny stuff about, with them making fun of any number of modern films. But there's a charm to the B movies from Mystery Science Theater that just is
it's gone
it's
now.
Just it's not really present. Even B movies are worse. No one makes bad movies as good as they used to be nowadays.
No. There's a lot of bad movies.
No, but they're not as good. No, the bad movies now are
anything from Steven Seagal in the last 30 years.
They're all terrible. No, I'm saying the bad movies now are worse than the bad movies back then.
I get what you're
bad movies used to be good.
Hey, Gordon Lightfoot. Yes, I grant Gordon Lightfoot. I concede the point. Canada.
That's not a movie. Yeah,
but it's not a movie. You know, I too like that song. That one song of Gordon Lightfoot, the Edmund Fitzgerald, the one and only song of Gordon. Name me another song from Gordon Lightfoot besides Edmund Fitzgerald.
Sundown, his biggest hit.
What is it?
Sundown. That's his biggest hit.
Nobody's heard of that song.
Rainy Day People.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
it's Edmund Fitzgerald or nothing. It's with Gordon Lightfoot.
Sundown is literally a bigger hit than Edmund Fitzgerald.
Nobody's ever heard of that song.
Yeah,
ever.
Everyone's heard that song, Joe.
I haven't. No.
Sundown,
by the way,
you better take care if I find you've been creeping around my back stair. It's a great song.
Okay, I know that song.
It's a really good song.
I didn't know the name of it, but
does he mention what he's going to use in that encounter? Like, is he going to sawed off shotgun or what is he?
You got to listen to the song.
He's probably going to use a spear song or something. But hey, NM says I'm taking away Joe's Gen X card since he hasn't seen Strange Brew. Oh boy, that's rough. But anyway, on a lighter note, the traditional Thomist, again speaking truth to power here. Traditional Thomist is just. He's an oracle, the traditional Thomist, clearly. He says, nice to see these guest students learning from the greatest Catholic creator, Joe McClain. Oh, yeah.
Do I detect a hint of what Joe calls the angelic language?
The angelic
in what
language.
he's saying, the angelic language of
That's
sarcasm.
True. That's true.
Do I detect a hint there?
Yeah, that's
So,
right.
Now, here's the question. Are we counting films made
Chris
in
Farley.
Canada or films made by Canadians?
Canadian production.
Canadian production.
Simply because
Films
it was
made
filmed
in
on
Canada.
location in Canada does not make it a
No,
Canadian
and I'm not saying film on location, but like films made by, like directed
Canadian
by Canadians.
productions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Canadian production. A lot of Canadian directors do a lot of their work in Hollywood.
That's because they know
Well, we're
that they
looking for
can't be
Manitoba.
from
That's what I'm saying.
Canada
That's what I'm
if they
saying.
want their film to be widely
Well, this-
popular. They got to be from America,
So
Right.
we're counting that they have to be Canadian productions.
Right.
Canadian production companies.
We're looking for Manitoba wood, not Hollywood.
Okay, there we go.
Oh yeah. Oh
Because if we count just Canadian filmmakers, we're kind of cheating because it's like James Cameron, Denis Villeneuve.
James Cameron's a great example
David
of,
Cronenberg,
of a
like-
Canadian who's made a bunch of movies, but he made all his movies
Yes.
in America.
in the Hollywood system.
Well,
Yeah.
Michael J.
The Hollywood
Fox,
system.
William Shatner,
Yeah, there's a bunch of them,
Canadians.
but they've all come south to make those films.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But we're looking for people, in Banff from Canada making Canadian films about caribou, moose, or something like that. Joe is a
John
hoser.
Candy.
Joe is a hoser. That's true in him. There's no question about that. Liz
Hey,
Finch
you
seems
hoser.
to think every Hallmark
Hey, you hoser.
movie
Take
ever
off.
is Hallmark all Canadian all the time? Oh,
Here you go. Here you go.
What about Northern Exposure? Was that? Oh, that was a television show anyway. Never mind.
Canadian-based director Bob Clark. Holiday classic shot on both sides of the border in Ohio and Ontario.
Okay.
A Christmas Story.
Christmas Story.
Yep.
Which one is
It's
that?
still Hollywood
With the
production.
with the tongue stuck to the.
That's Canadian.
Yeah, I think it's a Hollywood production. This list is
It's
not
a Hollywood
accurate.
production. Yeah.
Filmed in
This list is
Canada
not
doesn't count
is
because
not accurate.
You're going to
enough.
put your eye out, Jake. Be careful.
Otherwise-
Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, the X-Files was a Canadian production because half of it was filmed in Canada.
Yeah.
before they moved to
No,
the
it's got to be a
US.
Canadian company.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
It's
That's why
gotta be a Canadian.
I'm having
company.
trouble
I want-
finding a list that actually gives me which ones were produced
Right.
in
See,
Canada.
this is my point entirely. This is why I'm questioning the Anne of Green Gables thing.
No, Anne of Green Gables is for sure. It was
Sure
Canadian.
it
It was a
is.
Canadian television production.
Right.
It was.
Yeah. Okay. If you say so.
Yeah, I'll bring it up. I'll bring it up. The
Home
the
Alone.
company.
Home Alone is not a Canadian film.
No, it's not.
There's no way about that. Trailer Park Boys. Don't recommend it. Never even heard of it. The Trailer Park Boys.
Well, that's TV.
Northern Exposure was it? Yeah, it was TV. Sorry. What? Oh, what about the? What? Oh, hold on. Wasn't there a Mountie? Well, no, that was a TV show too, right? About the Mountie. Remember the Mountie?
Oh,
Dudley
was
Do
that?
Right.
yeah.
I forget now.
I think I know what movie you're talking about. I can't remember what it was.
Northern Exposure was filmed in Washington State as well. Yikes! Didn't even
My
make it
wife
across
likes a
the
show
border.
my wife likes a show called Due South, which is about a Mountie who's based out of Chicago for some reason.
That's the one I'm thinking about. That's the one I'm thinking about.
That
Due
is?
South. Yeah, he was kind of like a
Never
MacGyver,
saw it.
right? He was like a MacGyver character where he would like see a pile of like horse dung and he'd go, "They were just here." The
Yeah.
writer weighs 742 pounds. You know, like he would just like he'd have all this information after tasting horse dung or something like that. It was a crazy show. I actually liked that show. Due South. It ended early though. It got canceled, I think, if I remember correctly.
It looks like some of David Cronenberg's earlier films were Canadian productions.
Really?
Yeah.
Saint Dominic's Rosary says, "My wife is Canadian, eh?" Okay, praise God. Oh yeah, that's you betcha.
Soon my
Caleb the
will be.
Mechanic is back. Says, "Look up anything from the what? Hold on, I lost it. Look up anything from the Toronto Film Festival." Oh, that's a good call. I bet all of those are Canadian films, right? I
A lot of them are.
I guess you could probably get your film in there if you were from some other place, but there's got to be some Canadian good films other than the one that's been mentioned so far in this chat. Surely there's another one. Yeah, see, all these old folks are remembering Due South now. See? I'm not alone. Douglas, good morning to you. Laura, good morning to you. Yeah, Due South is triggering a lot of people right now. Gus DMH, Rush, the greatest Canadian band ever. not sure about movies. See, nobody can seem to remember any Canadian films, but you can remember Canadian people. That's interesting, isn't it? Traditional Thomist, was Scanners a Canadian production? Scanners. Was that Kiefer Sutherland?
Oh, gosh.
Was that the one where they were trying to die, kill themselves?
That wouldn't be Kiefer.
Be brought back?
No, you're thinking of
Flatliners.
Flatliners.
Flatliners. Oh, yeah, that's that one.
No,
so what was Scanners
was
about?
1981.
Yeah, that's a David Cronenberg.
Yeah.
It was like you could
it's a Canadian science fiction horror film. Yeah.
Kind of movie. Yeah.
Hey, you know what we didn't talk about? Is it okay if I switch topics now? You blokes are legends. Thank you, Susie. From your lips to God's ears. That's true. We should get a coffee mug that says that. We blokes are legends. That's what we should get. I wanted to talk about the aliens real quick before we do say goodbye today.
Ooh.
Dr. Stein.
Sure.
So we have an alien ship inbound, is what you're saying. That's what I watched your video, and the only takeaway that I had was aliens are coming.
So what you should do is panic. You should go to the store and buy all the toilet paper and all the eggs, all of them.
I have been hoarding toilet paper since 2020.
And wait for the War of the Worlds to kick off. Hopefully somebody will sneeze and kill the alien.
I saw the documentary film War of the Worlds, the more accurate one with Top Gun's Maverick, and they're always squids. Why are aliens always squids? Can you just explain that to me? You have a PhD. Explain it to me. Why are aliens always squids?
Why? I have no idea. I remember that movie, and the only thing I liked about that movie was the end, because at least it kept the spirit of the original novel. because these aliens who could travel across the stars relatively quickly and had the technology to do it safely and then invade and take over, didn't think to inoculate themselves against the local bacteria and viruses that we're all just used to. They just didn't do it, and then they all died. The end.
Isn't
Spoiler,
that funny?
in case you've never, you never encountered some telling of this 150-year-old story or whatever at this point.
So we're expecting
I saw that
squids from space anytime now.
Some scientists out there is like trying to raise the alarm about how it's traveling in an unnatural trajectory that the chances are that it could possibly be doing these things naturally are statistically improbable, near to the point of near impossibility. And he said the only other option is that it's something unnatural and it's coming towards us and it could be hostile. He reminds me of another classic 1980s cinema. Do you remember the movie Flash Gordon? And the scientist in that movie would work in NASA and said all the same stuff, except he was right in that story. Let's hope that's not Dr. Hans Zarkov from that movie, because that would be bad. Boy. Now, that I said,
the best thing about Flash Gordon,
aliens or demons or whatever.
The best thing about Flash Gordon was Brian Blessed.
Dive! Gordon's alive!
It's alive!
Gordon's alive!
General Gala, Flash Gordon approaching.
What do you mean, Flash Gordon approaching?
I saw the movie, or I watched I, Claudius, and I nearly died laughing when I realized that that Claudius was played by the same actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is an amazing production. There's a lot of stars in that where you're like, wait, he's in that too? He's in that too? Yeah, that's a great production.
The good old days.
But Flash Gordon.
Somebody said my Big Fat Greek Wedding is a Canadian movie. There's no way that's true. That was filmed on location in Greece and wherever else they filmed it. I don't know. But they can't. That's not Canadian? There's no way that can't be true. I remember Flash Gordon. That was a great film. You kind of remember. Now I'm like thinking about films from that era. Like, what was the one with Kroll? Like remember the whole
Kroll with
like,
the Kroll
has the
has
whole genre of films that were like sprung out of Conan the Barbarian. You know, remember the guy that had the two squirrels?
Beastmaster.
Oh man, I love that. So good. So
it was
good.
on my list of things to watch, and then I found out later that I think the movie's with a bunch of sex stuff, and I'm like, yeah, guess I'm not going to watch that one now.
I guess I can't watch any of that stuff anymore. Yeah.
All I ever saw of those movies was what was shown on TV. So
Really?
they had all of the bad language censored and they had all the nudity cut out. So it's
You
like
had parents that loved
I
you,
grew up
Michael.
watching. Well, I mean, my parents weren't going to spend money at Video World, so it was all about just whatever you could watch on television. And so I saw these science fiction movies, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is great!" And then find out later, no, it's not so great. I didn't
Yeah.
learn
That's why I
until
I think there's a lot of money to be made with a streaming service that brings you the TV edits of movies and encourages
Yeah.
Hollywood to give us
I
TV edits.
I didn't learn until about 7 years ago that Back to the Future was full of, JC all throughout the whole thing.
Yep.
Right.
I only ever saw the made for TV or the TV edit version.
That's amazing.
Where, Michael J. Fox is running around going, "Geez Louise, Doc." I wasn't saying "Geez Louise."
I used to have a friend, God rest his soul, and for his kids, what he would do is he would take a VCR tape of a film, and he would physically cut the tape and resplice it to edit things out so they could just put it in and watch it. He would go through the effort to do that for his kids. That was amazing. We've had VidAngel now for years. I've been paying for VidAngel to edit films and whatever content. We don't have cable television. That got kicked out almost 2 decades ago now. And but we do stream some curated content for our family. But now I'm actually experimenting with a new service called ClearPlay, and there's a whole new genre of services that can censor or edit or filter content. But now those new ones are using AI to do it. The problem is they have to see. VidAngel got sued. They got sued and had to pay up like $63 million and almost went bankrupt in the process. But because they're backed by the Mormons, I suppose they survived it all. But the way they do it is different than the way others are doing it. Now people are using AI. So the idea is they're not changing anything about the actual film or the product, the content itself. They're not touching any of the content, copyright violations with this new way of doing it. But the downside is the AI is not 100%. It's so even though you're trying to filter it, it may miss some things. It may not get it all, in which case you got to be careful.
The AI will get better. The AI for that will get better. It's just like in every other area that AI gets better these days.
Right. Yeah. But I'm testing it just to kind of see whether or not, because the nice thing is because VidAngel got sued, they're limited on what content they can actually have on their platform. So there's a lot of stuff you can't actually watch there because there's no filters for it. They're not allowed. Whereas some of these other services, they seem to like have access to a greater, Disney films or something like that. Not that I'm recommending Disney. I'm not. I'm just trying to make an example. So that's why I'm testing the other ones out to see. Like, I loved the first, what's his name? Captain America. I thought that was good. But then when you get to Winter Soldier, they took the bloody gloves off and they started bludgeoning us with them. The language alone in Winter Soldier is insane. And I'm like, I'm done with you. You're fired. Sorry, this is horrible. Winter Soldier was terrible, and it was obviously agendized because they could have made a lot more money, made a lot more people happy by keeping it family friendly and safe. But instead, they chose intentionally to cram that junk down our throats, and I was done with them at that point. And so it'd be nice to have options that you can pick some entertainment stuff. And lately, I've been trying to find like adventure related films. It's really hard to get films that your family can watch. My 9-year-old can watch. That's adventure related, interesting. Like you think, oh, you got Jumanji. You can't watch Jumanji. You can't do it. It's terrible. Even with filters is bad. So it's nice to see when films do come up that are more family friendly. Lately, one of the more recent ones has been Heads of State with John Cena. You Can't See Me, that guy from The Wrestler. Like he plays the American president. And it's on Amazon, and we watched it with VidAngel filters. But there's not even a whole lot to filter. There's some things to filter, like violence, but not a lot of other stuff, which is great. So there was only one immodest thing in the whole thing, and so that got filtered out, which is nice. But like it was fun. The whole family got to watch it. It was entertaining. It was it's called Heads of State. And what's hilarious about what I thought was funny was it's the premise is you got an American president with the prime minister of England on the run. People are trying to kill him, and they're trying to survive. And the guy who made the film is a Russian, so he's looking at it from an outsider's perspective. So there's all these cliches, and so the American president is like, being very American. It's almost caricature. It's hilarious. I had a good laugh at it. It was funny. Anyway. You got to watch it, and especially if you watch it with filters. It's nice.
John Cena, who is sort of a Dollar General version of The Rock or Arnold.
Yeah, yes, Dollar General version. Wow,
Oof.
Dang.
Well, that's not that cheap these days because even Dollar General, nothing's a dollar. So
they just upped it. Inflation the way that it is. He speaks fluent Chinese.
Yes, Bing Chilling.
Yeah, so he did press tours in China.
It's amazing.
Huh.
It's amazing.
Not dumb. Man is not.
He's not dumb
person at all.
Yeah,
it's kind of like Dolph Lundgren having a doctorate in chemistry.
Right. Mm-hmm. Dolph Lundgren. Who knew? We watched Rocky. What was that? Rocky 5 or 4?
It was Rocky 4. 4. Rocky 5 is the one you skip if you're watching the Rocky movies.
Yeah, we watched Rocky 4 for 4th of July on VidAngel filters, which was nice. Rocky 4. I must crush you. A traditionalist Catholic says, I finally saw the official video for Anne Lennox's Sweet Dreams, and wow, it was weird.
There were a lot of weird music videos in the 80s. A lot of weird music videos in the 80s.
Yeah. A lot of times you'll hear the artist talk about like their song, what it's about, then you watch the video and it has literally nothing at all to do with what they say the song is about.
Nope.
But, okay, so I'm pretty sure Hichborn and I are the oldest ones here today. Mm-hmm. You remember, Hichborn, do you remember, like you probably don't because you had parents that loved you and cared for you and didn't want you to be corrupted in your mind and your heart and your soul, so they didn't let you watch MTV endlessly like I did. I watched MTV endlessly. I remember the Police in their videos, and then all of a sudden there was a point where you get like Duran Duran, and every movie is every video they put out for their songs were like little miniature movies, huge productions and big deals. Like they were very cinematic. It was a huge shift. The 80s was such a weird time that way. Such a weird time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Michael Jackson. But, oh my heavens.
There are some very interesting things that I started noticing because I looked at some of those music videos after the fact. We didn't have cable television when I was growing up. If I saw MTV, it was only because I was going over to a friend's house. But, I saw some music videos, but I wasn't really all that interested. It was like, I listen to music on the radio. I don't need to see it at the same time that I'm listening to it. But in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, when people started uploading the old music videos from the 80s, I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. I'm curious about what I missed, so I started watching them. Now, this is after I'd already done my thesis and I'd read up about Freemasonry and occult symbolism and all that kind of stuff. And I started seeing all sorts of really bizarre symbols in these music videos. Mm-hmm. The number of music videos that have a goat walk across the scene is crazy. There are tons of them. Anything from Blondie, anything from the Pet Shop Boys, anything from Duran Duran. You start to see goats, and you see 666 in the background.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding.
It's bizarre. Yeah. Oh, the 80s. How did we survive it? I don't even know.
As if the 90s were any better.
I don't even. Well, by the 90s, at least, I had a fighting chance. I was a young adult, so there was
by the 90s, MTV stopped streaming videos anyway.
Yeah, that too.
The 90s. They took all the happiness out of popular music and, and replaced it with depression and nihilism.
Yeah, grunge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Grunge.
But, one of my favorite parts of the 90s would have been...
Yeah.
One thing I did love about the music in the 90s was VH1's Unplugged series.
Oh, yeah.
Because then the band would just sit there and they would actually play the songs, like live, but with acoustic, instruments. I love that. I thought that was amazing. I really enjoyed that part. It was like almost like something more pure about the horrible music that I was enjoying at the time. Mac brings up Ozzy Osbourne. God help that man, right? Don't forget Die Hard.
Yeah. From what I hear,
Die Hard is not a Canadian film.
he was a Christian of some kind.
Yeah,
It's
he was a vague Anglican, is what I heard.
This is why I've reacted very negatively to people. You know,
He's a
going,
performer. He was a performer.
I wish
he
I had
was
your
a
character
showman.
to know that.
Yeah,
he was putting on a show. He, unlike in contrast to what's his name, Manson.
Oh,
yeah, Manson's legitimate.
Marilyn Manson.
I remember 2 years ago on my channel, I reported on a weird public prayer thing that was Kanye West, Justin Bieber, and Marilyn Manson all doing like some sort of evangelical Christian prayer thing in public. I was very confused by the whole thing because Justin Bieber, from what I know about him, he was probably being sincere because of if you've heard about the things that happened to him that have come out since then. He was probably being sincere. Marilyn Manson, I have no idea. Yeah. Honestly, I hope he had a conversion experience, but I doubt it. Yeah. And then, Kanye West speaks for himself.
Yeah. Ursula, who exactly are you referring to? Are we referring to Ozzy Osbourne? I think
Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, even Osbourne's.
She says she wrote about him on the Substack. His lyrics were very Christian. He was also very print. I just want to make clarity there. Is it Ozzy Osbourne you're referring to?
Because even his song called Mr. Crowley about Aleister Crowley is kind of calling out Aleister Crowley. It's not a laudatory song.
It opens up with what went wrong with your head.
Yeah, exactly.
Calling him insane.
Yeah.
He was dropped.
And like I've said before, if you are being criticized as being too dark and too crazy by Ozzy Osbourne, you've got problems.
Yeah. You've got serious issues. Yeah. Serious concerns.
Yep.
Well, there you go, folks. I think what we have done today that is beyond the shadow of a doubt is we have proven that there are no other Canadian films besides the one that was mentioned.
No, you're writing off David Cronenberg, but yeah, that's okay.
100%.
There was a movie I saw when I was...
Only one.
There was a movie I liked when I was a kid from Canada about some kid collecting magical crayons. I don't remember what it's called.
See, nobody can remember. Nobody can remember. Also,
I know that for a fact.
Also, Gordon Lightfoot only ever wrote one song. Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yes, that's proven.
It's proven.
Only ever wrote one song.
And Traditional Tonalist is right. I am the greatest media critic, movie critic known to man. We'll see you Monday.